Nike has some great racing shoes, although recently their trainers have not been up to standard. Can the Zoom Fly 6 be the tempo trainer we've been looking for? Let's find out. Hello everybody, my name is Casey Atkinson and I'm an 18-year-old runner who reviews shoes here on YouTube. And today we're going to be talking all about my first impressions of the Nike Zoom Fly 6. Apparently the Zoom Fly 5 was terrible, but the Zoom Fly 6 has been a massive improvement on that. So I thought I'd have to pick it up for my next tempo/threshold trainer. I'd previously been doing all my threshold sessions in retired racing shoes, but I wanted to get a designated threshold shoe without getting a brand new super shoe. Starting off this first impressions with the specs, we have either 42 or 40 millimeters of stack height in the heel. I've seen different reports on the stack height here, with an 8 millimeter drop, meaning we have either 34 or 32 in the forefoot. In a US men's size 10, this shoe weighs 265 grams or 9.34 ounces. For the overview, the upper features 2 layers, with the outermost being a woven mesh. The midsole is dual layered, with the top layer being Nike's Racing Foam Zoom X and the bottom layer being SR02 foam, which is a more durable EVA. These 2 layers sandwich together the carbon fiber plate, which runs through the middle of the midsole. The carbon fiber plate isn't as stiff as you think, and I think is mainly more to stabilize the midsole foam. Lastly, the outsole rubber has Nike's famous waffle pattern. So, how was running in the Nike Zoom Fly 6? And this is definitely the tempo trainer that I've been looking for. This does feel mostly like a super shoe. It makes it very easy to lock into a pace on those metronomic tempos and thresholds. When I first put this shoe on, I immediately felt how tall and cushioned the midsole felt. There is a high volume of foam in this shoe, and it took me a few K to get used to it. There is a bounciness to this, which has a race shoe feeling. I've been trying to figure out where this comes from, as it is only a tempo trainer, but I think it has a trampoline effect somewhere. I think the cutouts working together may cause this effect. There is a big cutout on the side of the midsole, also in the bottom, and a small one in the forefoot. I think that all of these are working together with the carbon plate to create that trampoline effect. As I said before, there is a lot of foam underneath, which gives the shoe a bottomless feeling. It feels like I can put unlimited force into the shoe and it won't bottom out, which I think will lend itself quite nicely to long workouts and long run workouts as well. I think that if you are a heavier runner and bottom out shoes quite easily when running fast, this may be a good option. The Zoom X foam on top is very bouncy and responsive, as it always is, and the SR02 on the bottom works well to stabilize and add durability to the shoe. The upper is also quite nice, and I love the shape of this heel counter. It is shaped like a cup, and I find that my heel slots into this perfectly. Likewise with the toe box, it is very wide and doesn't come to a point which lets your toes splay out very nicely, and I've seen this on other Nike shoes as well. The upper itself is dual layered and gives a snug feel on foot. I would have rather this to be a single layer, as the upper is quite warm and not very breathable. A single layer would have given a more race-like feel to the shoe, and I feel that it's a bit over padded with these 2 layers. I can tell that the Zoom Fly 6 has a lot of race DNA in it from the Vaporfly and Alphafly. However, there are 3 main things that set it apart from a super shoe, which I would like to point out. Firstly, the weight. Going from wearing 200 gram shoes for thresholds to 260 gram shoes, you can definitely feel the difference. Near the end of the workout, I can feel that there is slightly more bulk to turn over, although this can be a good thing as they're just for training. Secondly, the upper. There is more padding than the super shoe, which is to be expected, although I don't think that this dual layer is needed. I just don't think that it's needed that much. It makes it feel more like a daily trainer and it can get quite warm. Lastly, the EVA foam on the bottom, which is obvious, and I won't delve into that. Now overall, I think this is a great shoe and I've been enjoying it so far, although there are a few things that I would have preferred that they changed. Firstly, the 8mm drop. When I'm heel striking just as I usually would, it feels a bit funny because there's still foam in the heel hitting the ground. It kind of feels like I'm mildly heel striking and using the foam in the heel, which I don't like the feeling of and I don't want to do. I would have preferred if they took 2mm out of the heel stack and made it a 6mm drop instead of the 8. Secondly, there is a lot of foam near the toes. A lot of other shoes taper away more so than the Zoomfly when it gets near the end. However, there is still quite a lot of foam here. Although the shoe is rocketed, I think this is dulled out a bit from the extra foam near the toes, and if they shaved a little bit away, I think this would have given a better rocker and transition off the toes. Lastly, how will I use the Zoomfly 6 in my training moving forward? And I will use it what I bought it for, tempos and thresholds. I think the shoe locks into a fast pace quite well, and there is a good amount of cushion here to handle high volume. I know that the shoe is also used for fast workouts, although I think that there's better options out there, such as the Adidas Takumi Sen 10. It can also be used for long runs, although I think a shoe like the Asics Superblast 2 would be a better option for this purpose. Finally, racing. I will not be using this shoe for racing as I have a designated race shoe, although I have seen this being advertised as a budget race shoe, and at $260, I think this is quite fair. If you are targeting a race and only want a 2-shoe rotation, you could have a daily trainer and then the Zoomfly. The Zoomfly can handle all of your workouts and you can race in it as well. This would be great for someone who hasn't worn a super shoe before, and it would be a great introduction to that super shoe feel. So that will wrap up my first impressions of the Nike Zoomfly 6. If you had enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. It would mean a lot, and I will see you all in the next video.